Hello and welcome to Tools and Techniques Thursday at my sewing room. I'm Leah. I'll be the one to hang out with you today. I found fabric to match my shirt. That's how we picked fabric for today's video. I should actually read the name of it before I get going here. I am doing well. I'm doing well. I prepped a whole bunch of fabric for our tiling scene that we're running here in store this morning. While I moderated a class, and I thought I'd go over some update information. There's new products coming from pretty much all the machine companies this time of year, and knowing how to find updates for your machine is super helpful. I did have a brief thought that I should do this as two separate videos, but my mind got going. I was like, every time I do something that's super brand specific, everybody from the other brand is like, how do I do mine? So we're going to talk both major brands that we have today, doing roughly the same thing. We won't go through and do the steps, but I'll show you where to find the info to do updates. So part of the reason you might want to do updates in the nearish future is on the Bernina side, there is a couple fabulous new hoops coming from Bernina. The first of the fabulous new hoops have started landing in store. This is the Bernina medium clamp hoop. It fits the 7 and 8 series Berninas, and to run it, all the 7 and 8 series Berninas will need a new firmware version because this hoop is not in the ones that were out previously. So we're going to talk hoops and firmware and quilting, because we've got quilts to quilt around here, and sometimes you have fancy toys that will let you quilt with your embroidery or quilting module. So first things first, I'm just going to make a screen capture. It's going to go blank for just a moment while I get this set properly. And that's front window. Why did that not do what I expected? There we go. Perfect. I found the thing. So we don't host firmware versions on our website. The best place to find current software for your machine is from the manufacturer. And we're going to start with Bernina because that's the first hoop in my stack of hoops. No plain favorites here. Love both dearly, and we're just starting with Bernina because it was on the top of the pile. So when you get to Bernina's website, Bernina Canada or Bernina.com, and it will direct you to your country page if you're watching this from elsewhere. You do want to go to the right country so that things are all working smoothly. Model numbers changed ever so slightly across countries sometimes. But that will be where we start. And to find update information and all sorts of other fabulous things for your machines, we're going to scroll all the way down to the bottom of this page, and there is, under feedback and the service column, there's manuals and firmware downloads. So once you get in there, there is all the machines Bernina has that may have firmware updates. So the things we're looking at that might need updating to run this medium clamp hoop will be the Bernina 7 and 8 series that embroider. So not all of those embroider. Machines like the 820 don't embroider. The 740 does not embroider. Most of those other ones do embroider though. So then you have the option of, getting your fancier hoop installed. So if we want to go find a firmware version and see if we have the latest one on your machine, you'll click onto the machine you have. Say you have a 790 Plus. And this is also a place to look if you did upgrades and you don't have instructions, or If you lost your user manual, you can download a digital copy here. So that's pretty cool. Another really fun thing that Bernina has for some of their models is a simulator. We sometimes use these in classes when we have multiple multiple machines and an interface that's slightly different that we need to show somebody how to do something in. So there's a simulator you can download if you want to try pushing buttons without being at your machine. Realistically, it's always more fun to be on your machine and actually doing the activities. But that's some of the fun stuff that's hiding in here. This middle section here is firmware. So firmware is the data that your machine is using to keep it current. There's kind of the built-in information, and then the firmware is the stuff that will update as we go. And there's always good instructions in here of how to do the download and view everything. So if I can just click this open, it'll walk you through how to do updates on this particular model of Bernina. And usually there's a very, very long list of details at the beginning. The biggest thing is you need an empty USB stick, and it needs to not be too big because sewing machines have teeny tiny little brains, and a 64 gigabyte USB stick has to be read by the machine before it can open anything, and it just gets bogged down and it's too much. So there is lists of how to do all this download and extract the files you need and get it all open. There's also information for how to do this on a Mac in here. So well worth reading this information. Sometimes doing updates, if there's been an upgrade available, there's been some changes within the Bernina series, you may need to enter the serial number, and that'll be located on the sticker on the back of your machine. It's an 8-digit number. It'll have a machine model number and then an 8-digit number, and that's your serial number. So sometimes this is helpful. There's also instructions here if you want to update your machine and you don't speak English. So it's not 20 pages of information, it's like 4 pages in English to read through how to do the update. So not super cumbersome. And most people are able to do these updates at home by themselves. But if you're not comfortable and you're not ready to tackle this on your own, we do firmware updates here in the store. If you bought your machine from us, it's not a big deal. So the firmware, magic numbers that we're looking for are the version number and then the update number. So they're in that list of details of the download instructions. It does show you where to find the version that you're running on board your machine. And then this is where we can find the current version being offered by Bernina. So for the 790 right now, it's 39.08.08 is the magic number. And if you like information, you can read through and find the release notes. And the release notes will tell you all the cool stuff that is enabled or activated by doing this update, or any little bugs that were adjusted. So we'll tell you what the previous versions were. And compatibility with new embroidery hoops. That's the whole point of this particular firmware update. So that's the big deal there. In here, when you download these files, I don't know, might have to do a screen share and do this slightly differently. So we'll let that download. And depending on how your internet browser is set up, this may just populate in your downloads bar along the bottom. This may go directly into your downloads folder, but it very much depends on how your browser's set up. So we're just going to let this download ever so quickly. I'll show you what you need to do next before this gets copied onto a USB stick. It downloads as a zipped file. Zipped files are files that are multiple files all compressed together into a tighter pocket. It's like vacuum sealing pillows to pack them away. It's brilliant. They're faster to download, they're easier to use, but they're not usable in the function they are. So zipped files do need to be unzipped generally before being used. But we'll get there in a moment when it's done downloading. We can go show in folder. It might give us some idea of how much longer it has. It's a big folder. It's a big file. I'm going to have to change how I'm sharing my screen to show you this. Okay. It's all completed. Blue ring of downloading is all done. I'm going to swap to this, because then I can show you more things. From here, if we go show in folder, it will show us the compressed folder up. This one just downloaded to my downloads folder. And to get all those lovely little files out of a zipped file, I can left click on my mouse and, nope, that's a right click, sorry. Right click on the mouse and go extract all. And it's just gonna put them in another folder with the same name. And it will open files ending in a .bin. So that's the big technical thing that the Bernina machines are looking for, is that .bin file to do the update. So Bernina's website, find your model number, do the download, and then those 3 files will get copied onto a USB stick, take that over to your machine, and follow the update instructions in your manual. Sometimes there's 4 files. This particular one has 3. So that's how you do a firmware update from the computer standpoint. Another day we can update live on screen. But pretty much all the machines I have here in the store are going to need a firmware update so that we can play with the new hoops as they come out. So that is the first machine I wanted to talk about updating. I'm just going to go back to me for a moment. And why would you want to update this? Why would you want a medium clamp hoop? Maybe go to that camera. So this is a medium clamp hoop. This is why you want to do this update, because you want to be able to quilt your quilts with precision and accuracy. I've got quilting in here already. It comes with a big clear template. This thing is fabulous. And the Swiss are generally very, very keen on keeping everything metric, but they did make this hoop to fit 8.5-inch quilt blocks in your 8 series. And the 7 series will do 8.5 this way by 8.25 this way. So you've got options. And these little clamps, super duper easy to take off if you're ready to move on to the next section in your quilt and reposition. Reposition over the next block. The bottom of the hoop looks like this. And those clip on. It's quite lovely. I'm a big fan. I had a chance to use this hoop at Bernina University, and I would say if you like to finish your own quilts but you like precision and maybe you're not amazing at free motion quilting, this is going to be such a lovely way to get through so many projects. So I can get that in there. My hoop, my block is centered under my template. I can go back in and put all my clamps on. Or as many clamps as you need. When I was actually working on this sample at Bernina University, we only used 8 of the clamps and just did 2 on each side. But if I do that right now, we're going to lose clamps in the store. So it gets all 12. And if you're interested in adding something like the medium clamp hoop to your machine, we have pre-order pricing on these until September 17th. So that is the first magical hoop, first set of update instructions. Bernina land. And now, in truly a fashion, we are going to carry on and not leave our brother friends out, and we'll talk about how to update your brother machines. A little bit different. Not wildly different, but a little bit different. Brother, their top of the line machine, the XP2 or XP, coming out XP3, there's a new magnetic hoop. I've got the 7x14 magnetic sash frame here right now. There's a new 10x10 one. So again, if you want to quilt your quilts with your machine at home using that module, so lovely. These ones are magnetic, a little bit different than the Bernina clamps, but both super effective at holding quilts in place. So if you needed to do an update to be able to run a new hoop in Brotherland, we're gonna just switch all my screens around again. I've caused chaos in truly a fashion. Just gonna double check comments. Ooh, there's a good question in there. When I bring my machine in for a service, does the tech check for updates on your machine and install? Yes, that should be happening when your machine's coming in for service. And the guys will get all the machines. We have a whole wall of USB sticks to update everything. We'll get those up and filled with new firmware updates now that all of these ones are released. So we're going to go back to window share here for a moment. And then your Brother updates. Brother's website, quite a bit different because Brother does all sorts of things that have nothing to do with sewing, which is cool. That's what allows them to have such cool technology like cameras and projectors inside their machines. So for Brother, we will be going, brother.ca is where you'll start. And we'll go downloads and drivers. And then you have a couple different ways of navigating this particular set of menus. We can do product search. And we can go look. And most of what we need here in store is the home sewing machine category or the cutting machine, which would be the scan and cut. And you'll find update files for both the same way. If you happen to have one of the newer machines that has Wi-Fi capability, you can have it just automatically connect to Brother's website and download the update. There's a little Wi-Fi button on the screen. It's a pretty sweet way of doing updates. Well, let's talk about where you're going to find this if your machine is not Wi-Fi capable. Most of the Brother machines we sell fall into this Innovus series. So the letter code will denote the series it's in, and then they're in the Innovus series. Things like the PR are in here as well. There's other machines that won't get firmware updates if they're all mechanical. But most of the ones with embroidery do have update options. So I'm going to go into the XV series and just randomly pick one, and I'm going to pick the 8500. When you pick a model, it will show you down at the bottom what the current version is. So information, software version 3.10 is available. Please click here. And then you'll get to tell it what type of sewing machine or what type of computer you're working on, so it knows how to handle the download. I'm running Windows 10, so it's pretty happy like that. And then there's information that you could get to read. Update information will tell you information about the update itself. It will show any compatible models. Sometimes it's only one, sometimes it's multiple. Notes before downloading. You're not allowed to download from Brother's website until you agree to the EULA, which is End User License Agreement. If you want somebody to read through these, our lovely guy Tyler around here is pretty thorough reading these types of agreements, but you can't have the update unless you agree. That's the deal. So right away, before you even, it starts the download when you click that file. And so my download is happening over here. And it will give you instructions of how to do that update on board your machine and how to find the current version that it's running by showing you enough screens there. If you scroll through here, it will walk you through the entire update process and how to get that update loaded. So you can read through all of that on your own. I would say Brother updates are super duper easy because you could download this directly onto your sewing machine or onto your USB stick, and you don't have to worry about unzipping anything. Just a little bit different structure to it. Every company does it their own way. But down halfway through this, you'll see the update versions along the way and what changes from update to update. And these updates are free. Upgrades often are a paid feature add-on. So that's the difference between an update and an upgrade. But right now, this file's downloaded very quickly because it's not a big file. Brother does their stuff differently. It works. So we'll go back and show that in the folder. Brother updates, I have that listed there. It'll have the version number, usually the letter code of the beginning of the model, and its file type is a .upf, which I think of that as update file. And all you have to do is copy that onto a USB stick and follow the instructions in that previous page of how to do the install on your machine. They're really straightforward. They're really, really easy to keep your brothers up to date at home. So don't have any fear of jumping in and doing that yourself. The Bernina one where you have to unzip files, I know that is intimidating for some, and that's okay. We're here to help you out. But maybe after watching today's video, you'll be able to tackle it on your own. Oh, I have one more thing I want to show you on Brother's website. It's my other top secret tip of the day with Brother's website. You're not watching that right now. Let's go back there. If you're ever wondering what accessories are available for your machine, under consumables and options, lots of people think I know everything in store. I don't. I know where to look information up. This is my top secret tip if you want to see what accessories might work on your machine. Go through the steps to find the downloads and drivers for your model, and then look at the consumables and options. And you will have a reference sheet of all the fun things that could potentially work with your machine. So if I wanted to know what other fun feet there are for general sewing on an XV8500, I could click into optional feet, and it will give you the Brother part numbers. So we list our Brother accessories by that SA 161. That SA number is how we list our accessories here in store. But then you can scroll down and see all the cool things. And there's how-to guides and instruction manuals for some of them. They might even have videos. How cool is that? So lots of different feet in there. There's also embroidery accessories. So this would be things like laser pointer, LED foot for embroidery, or border frames, or different shapes of frames, or spool stands, or all the different hoops that could work on your machine. So there's some cool options in there. This is my top secret reference. I will gladly share it with the world because it's just good information, and not always, like your user manual that comes with your machine might list optional accessories, but when new things come out, you might not know if they're compatible with your machine. And this is a pretty good guide on how to tell. On the Bernina, if you have a 770QE but add the plus option to use the 770QE or the 770QE plus. Oh, that is an excellent question. Probably still the original thing that you did, 770QE, because the root guts of your machine are still a 770 QE, 770 QE Plus has a different screen size. So stick with your original model number. The Plus is an add-on in the software. So stick with the original model number. So that is, I'm going to go find one more thing here on my screen. There we go. So now you might be wondering, what might I use to quilt my quilts with these fancy fun new hoops? In behind me, I've got couple different ways that might work really well for you. There's also designs included in your machine. Emily Scott Designs has a couple different things going on. Edge to edge. Edge to edge, that's this one. I'm backwards on screen today. And she's got fabulous designs and lots of add-ons there. Or Edge to Edge Pro is her new book that's out with there's software you can size things. It's very cool. So that would be one option. Edge to Edge Pro is how we quilted this table runner and sized it to make it all work inside the middle part. Another thing you might use, Kimberbell clear blue tiles. And that's how I quilted the random parts of this that are quilted at this point. It's my demo sample bit that is not completely quilted. But Kimberbell's got some really, really cute designs for quilting. So depending on the vibe of your project, Emily Scott might fit the vibe of your project. Kimberbell clear blue tiles might fit the vibe. They're both fabulous ways of quilting with precision and using your machine to do it for you without having to try and make bumblebees yourself. I can't free motion bumblebees that tidy, so using my module on my machine makes me super happy to do quilting. In behind me, fabric today is called Autumn Day. I picked it because it matches my shirt. And it's orange and it has pumpkins and it made me happy. So that would be fabulous fabric. Make yourself a fall table runner. Give one of these new hoops a try. Get them pre-ordered. Do a firmware update on your machine. And if you want more information about embroidery or quilting or any of the above, we've got free motion renter certification classes scheduled through the fall to rent our long arms, if that would make you really happy. If you'd like to give quilting with your module a try, get in touch. We're working on getting the rest of our fall classes set up, but you could come quilt some things in our OESD Stitching in the Kitchen. We're doing a quilted hot handle cover. So in that class, and there's still space to come and join us. And if you haven't embroidered before and you'd like to give it a try, Stitching in the Kitchen, September 30th and October 1st. We'd love to have you in the building. We're setting up machines for anybody who doesn't own one, so you can give it a try. We'd love to have you here. Saturday morning, our Tools of the Trade class is running. I know we have some people joining us in store. Last I looked, there was one spot left, so you could still come get that last spot in that class. And it's running this Saturday, next Friday, next Saturday, 17th, 23rd, and 24th. And Tuesday morning, the 21st, no, the 20th. I need a calendar in front of me. Our very first class to go with our Patchwork in Paradise series is live here in store or on Zoom, whichever way you'd like to join us. If you're not able to join us that morning, we're recording that class for you. And there's bonus material going to be posted in that class page in the next couple days. So that's what I have for you guys today. Thank you so much for joining.